Hi folks, this is Steve, and this is my first attempt at making a video. I thought I would talk a little bit about my experience, give a quick witness about how I came to find Christ and to give my life to Christ. At the time, I had been working at Virginia Tech. I did leadership development and did some staff development, and was working part-time on my PhD in education. And it was really, I guess at the time, a secular humanist, and was into relativism and all sorts of things like that. And I was scientifically minded because I had quite a bit of science in my background, including cancer research, diabetes research, and so I was very into science. And I had grown up experiencing the church. I'd read the Bible 3 times when I was young, and so there was always that question here of God. And though I looked at Christians as number one, being kind of well, Christians not being real smart, Christians using religion as a crutch, and, some of the standard things. But there was always something in the back of my mind that said, don't push that too far. And so I got to be 40, and while I was on staff at Virginia Tech, of course, we had a shooting, and I was heavily involved with the response to the shootings, and really began to ask myself some questions about life. I was about 40 yards from the shooting when it occurred, and I was kind of like, wow, if that would have been in this building, would I have been prepared? And the answer to that question is no. And that's when I really began to consider God, to consider Jesus, and some other things. And one of the things that I realized, because I had always considered myself a truth seeker, and I began to think about Jesus at that time, and I came to realize that I was beating up on Christians, and here I was afraid to even acknowledge the name of Jesus Christ because I was afraid of what people would think of me. And so it wasn't that I had thought through Jesus and what he had done and things like that and came to a conclusion based on that. I was actually avoiding Jesus at the time out of fear. Even if it was true, I was afraid of what people would think of me. And when I came to that realization, I said, wow, I've really got to give Jesus a chance. And I ended up going to see a speaker. His name was Philip Yancey. He wrote a book called Where's God When It Hurts? He's a pastor out of Columbine, and he had come to Virginia Tech with a family of his on that Thursday. Shootings happened on Monday. He was there on Thursday. And it was sponsored by New Life Christian Fellowship at Virginia Tech. And they had handed out blue cards. And I filled out a card and I said, God, I know if I'm going to investigate this, I've got to come here for you. And so I filled out the card and said I wanted to talk to somebody about giving my life to Jesus. And I submitted the card, and here's the card. And a pastor at the time, his name was Jim, came and saw me in my office later that week, or early the next week actually. And we sat down and talked, and he asked me, about my relationship to God, how I felt about God, and I had said, I love God, and as soon as I said it, I was kind of like, wow, where did that come from? But I said, yeah, I love God, and Jim was kind of thrown back by that, and he said, well, what's keeping you from giving your life to Christ? And I said, well, I have so many questions. I have questions about creation, I have questions about errors in the Bible, I have questions about, the standard thing that Satan puts in our mind. And he said, well, we can do a couple of things. He said, see if we can you can either give your life to Christ and then we can answer your questions, or we can take 6, 7, 8 months and go over your questions, and then if you decide to give your life to Christ, then you can do that. And I remember distinctly my response, and I said, Jim, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm not worth? And as soon as I started to form that last word, I just started sobbing. And I said, Jim, what if I'm not worthy of God's love? And I was sobbing, because all this time, the reason why I hadn't given myself to Christ was because I didn't feel worthy of God's love. And when you think of Satan, when you think of the things that he does to us to keep us from God, it was just so sick that I didn't think I was worthy of God's love. And so I'm sobbing, and Jim said, well, hey, we're in your office. Why don't you, why don't we get together next week, think about what you want to do, and we'll go on from there. And so that night, I was watching a video, and I was thinking about the day, and it was a religious video, and it was actually, this is a religious video, and all of a sudden, the truth just hit me. It was just amazing. I thought back to all of the challenges that I'd been through, the death of my father, the divorce of my mother and my father, and some other things, and how my philosophy of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, that whole thing. And I just spun around, and on the wall beside me was the footprints thing, where you and God are walking on the sand. And a truth hit me that through all of that tragedy that I'd been through, that it wasn't me that was getting through it, but God had carried me, and that he loved me so much that even though I was denying him, he had carried me through all of the tragedies. And again, I just started sobbing. And I said, God, forgive me. Forgive me. You loved me during that time so much that even when I was denying you, you were there for me. And I contacted Jim that night, and I said, Jim, I'm going to give my life to Christ. And started the process. And it has been the greatest thing that I have done, and it's been the most difficult thing that I have done. But the journey has been great. I have met a lot of great people here on YouTube. Keith, Doug, new friend of mine, who was my first friend. And I apologize, I can't remember your name offhand. But I've become familiar with Paul Washer, a number of incredible pastors, and my journey has been tough, but I am so thankful for that. And so I will make another video soon, talk with you a little bit more about what's been happening over the last 2 years, because it's been very interesting, and hopefully this will be meaningful for you. Folks, I thank you for watching. I love all you folks. I'm praying for you. Hey, take care of yourself, and God bless. Thank you very much.